I'm Rabbi Jonathan Ginsburg of the Ezra Habonim Niles Township Jewish Congregation of Skokie, Illinois. We're on the web at www.ehnt.org. The Jewish people have two holidays that are lots of fun, which actually celebrate and commemorate important events. One is Hannukah, a holiday from observances of 165 BCE, when the Jewish people were aggressively inflicted by the Greek Syrians, and they drove them out. And we celebrate that holiday, one of the ways, by eating potato pancakes. The other holiday is Purim from the 4th century BCE, when the Iranians, the Persians, tried to persecute the Jews, and we celebrate that victory over them and our survival by eating a certain delicacy called a Homintaschen, a pastry filled with prunes or some other delicacy. One of the traditions that's grown up is a debate between those who advocate that Homintaschen are more important for Jewish survival and those who advocate Latkes are. Being a former national high school debate champion, I'm going to present both sides in the famous Homintaschen-Latke debate. First, defending the Homintaschen and attacking the Latke. My friends, the Latke equals Nazism. People who consume Latkes are very dangerous for Jewish survival. I'm going to offer several arguments as to why Latkes should never be eaten, and Homintaschen are clearly more important for Jewish survival. First of all, in terms of Latkes, they equal Jewish death. People who support the Latkes support the PLO, the Potato Latke Organization, an organization designed to corner the world market on oil. We know that the greatest problem facing Israel today is fueled by our dependence on foreign oil. And what are Latkes baked in and cooked in and fried in? But oil. And so if you consume Latkes, you are aiding and abetting the enemies of Israel. And second of all, Homintaschen have a much more deep and significant religious meaning than Latkes. After all, they have 3 points, like these 3 services a day the Jewish people have, like the 3 patriarchs, like the 3 matzahs that we eat at Pesach. But what is a circle? A circle equals 0. So a Homintaschen has great significance, and a Latke shaped like an oval. 0 has 0 meaning. Purim's in the Bible, and Hannukah is not. And so it has much more meaning than the holiday of Hannukah. Also, Latkes celebrate a holiday with an old wives' tale about a miracle of oil. Sure, that happened, but Purim celebrates an historical phenomenon. Also, Latkes are treif. If you eat Latkes, you're eating treif. Why? Well, when you make the potato pancakes, you do it knuckles into the shredder, and the blood and the stuff of a hand of your old bubby gets into the mix. You can't consume that. Latkes are treif. Also, there's no mitzvah for eating on Hannukah, where there is a mitzvah for eating on Purim, and therefore Purim is a much more significant religious holiday. But also, potatoes are completely irrelevant. Originally, the idea was cheese from the early stories of Hannukah. And many Jews today celebrate Hannukah by eating jelly donuts. Potato pancakes are not even historically meaningful or meaningful for half of world Jewry. Also, Latkes are unhealthy. Think about the oil and how they cause pimples. If you eat Latkes, you are causing a generation gap between people. And also, it's a bad starch, whereas Homintaschen you can have with whole wheat. Fourth, Latkes cause disunity among the Jews. We can't even argue and agree about how to pronounce them. Some say Latkes, some say Latkes. And besides, Perkins offers potato pancakes. So does any restaurant. If you eat Latkes, you're equaling Jewish intermarriage and assimilation. And finally, Homintaschen are a lot more fun to eat. There's a whole variety, whereas potato pancakes, what are those? And they smell up the house for a long time. I urge you to reject Latkes, support Homintaschen, and to acknowledge the policy position that Homintaschen are much more important to Jewish survival than Latkes. My friends, I'm here to defend the Latke against the vicious attacks of my opponent and to say that the Homintaschen has no meaning in Jewish history. First of all, my opponent's argument about the PLO is ridiculous. We know that's not the Potato Latke Organization. It was the Palestine Liberation Organization. And he's talking about foreign oil, not vegetable oil. Of course, Latkes are meaningful historically and religiously, and his arguments are bogus. Second of all, he claims that Latkes have no religious meaning. But of course they do. In fact, the 3 points of the Homintaschen we know are really Christian. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. It has nothing to do with Judaism, and if you eat Homintaschen, you're supporting Christianity. And he says the 0 of the shape of the Latke is a 0. No, it's the circle of life. What do you get married in but a circle, a ring? That's the most important religious symbol we have. He says Purim is a silly holiday, and that as a great holiday, and Homintaschen and Hannukah is not. Well, which is more important to Jewish history today? The Jewish people celebrate Hannukah in a much more profound meaning. Only little kids go to Purim celebrations. They wear silly costumes. The adults get drunk. It's a crazy holiday. Whereas Hannukah talks about a very religious, significant political and religious freedom. In fact, Hanukkah goes to the essence of the story of Israel and the Jewish people. It goes to the essence of the story of America, of political and religious freedom. It's a much more significant holiday. He says latkes are treif. That is ridiculous. First of all, everybody uses Cuisinarts today, so we avoid the problem. And if he's a rabbi, he should know that the mixture of 1 in 60 anyway nullifies any treifness. So telling me that there's more than 1 out of 60th of your bubby's blood in the latke batter, even if she does use the old-fashioned way, that is ridiculous. He says there's no mitzvah to eat latkes. Well, there's no mitzvah to eat Homintaschen. But if you ask a Jew today what food is more consumed by the Jewish people on which holiday, they'd say potato pancakes for sure. And the fact that some Jews eat jelly donuts, in fact, most Jews today eat both. We celebrate Jewish unity, but that doesn't mean that potato pancakes are not religiously significant. He says that latkes are unhealthy. Well, now they've shown that certain oils you use actually helps your cholesterol. It improves your health. And so you fry latkes in that, you can definitely improve your health. But think about all the Jewish diabetics and how awful and terrible the sugar of Homintaschen are. It's ridiculous to be advocating eating sugar when you have Jews that are obese and have so much diabetes. And so, of course, Homintaschen are much worse and latkes are much better. And then he says that we have a big fight over how to pronounce latkes. Well, that's ridiculous. Jews love to argue. In fact, you could say that the brilliance of Jewish lawyers comes from the fact that we've argued about issues like that over the centuries. We should celebrate the disagreements we have and not say that we shouldn't be discussing how to pronounce them. And the fact that we have different pronunciation goes to the fact that the Jews are spread around the world, and that's a good thing. And finally, he says that Perkins offers latkes, so we shouldn't be eating them. Well, the Jewish people, to survive, need to intermingle with other people. We need to be able to go out and celebrate. That's one of the great things about Judaism in a free world. That man's living in some kind of ancient time, and he should be ashamed of himself. And finally, he says the house smells from latkes and Homintaschen are more fun. What do you mean? People love putting all kinds of things on latkes: sour cream, applesauce, ketchup. Whereas Homintaschen, it's just a dessert. You can't even eat it as a meal. It's a bad food. And so to sum up, my opponent is clearly wrong. Homintaschen are much more important in Jewish history, much less important in Jewish history. Latkes are much more important. Hanukkah is a much more important holiday today. We should celebrate latkes, we should celebrate Hanukkah, and we should certainly affirm the idea that latkes are more important in Jewish survival than the Homintaschen. Thank you.